Today on Investigate TV, school police officers are armed to defend campuses, but some experts say they're outgunned.
Would I prefer to have a long gun in a situation here if I were faced with an active assailant? Absolutely.
Plus, hundreds of people killed each year in high-speed chases. Now a federal report recommends new rules for police.
Is it worth it? Is it worth endangering that person who you're pursuing, the police officer who's pursuing them, and that third party?
And a legal loophole that keeps some car salespeople from disclosing dangerous recalls.
I would have never bought it. I wouldn't have even looked twice at it.
Investigate TV starts right now. Hello and welcome to Investigate TV. I'm Lee Zurich. Are police in your child's school fully trained and equipped to take out an active shooter? Our team surveyed districts across the U.S. and found some school police would be outgunned when facing a shooter who has a rifle. Brendan Keefe spoke with some departments who are now changing their gear after our questions. We do want to warn you, there are images and sounds of gunfire in this story.
Let's go!
They just went in without hesitation.
Metro Police!
You see these things on the news, but when it's your kid's school, you see them going through their classroom.
Hold the door!
You see them going through the rooms that you know your kid's in. You're watching them clear these spaces that your child plays in.
Sarah Shoup Newman was close to Covenant School when the first shots were fired.
My son was not at the school. He was with my husband, so I knew that he was safe, thank God. We were spared so much in comparison to many of our friends and the staff there.
The Nashville officers had patrol rifles. The school shooter had rifles too.
Rifle first, blue, go! Go, 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 go! Go, go, go!
3 grade schoolers and 3 staff members were killed before the officers reached the shooter.
Do you believe lives were saved that day?
Absolutely. I wish that all of them would have been, but there absolutely were numerous lives saved.
Push it LPVS, go right! Reloading! Suspect down, suspect down!
What they did, every law enforcement officer in this country should take notice.
Mo Kennedy protected this high school in Alabama. Now he runs the National Association of School Resource Officers.
This hallway we're in, at least 100 yards long. Would I prefer to have a long gun in a situation here if I were faced with an active assailant? Absolutely, 100%. And the thing that we also have to look at is that many of these active assailants are armed with a long gun.
The range of accuracy for a pistol in the hands of a trained police officer is roughly 10 to 15 yards. The range of accuracy for a rifle in the hands of an amateur can be greater than 100 yards, leaving the school police officer outgunned if all they have is a pistol. We surveyed school police across the nation and discovered a wide disparity from district to district.
Blue, blue, blue.
Rifles are standard issue for some school officers.
Stay right there, please.
Who mainly keep them locked in their patrol cars. But those rifles aren't available in entire districts, from Albuquerque to Indianapolis to Atlanta.
On the first day of school, how many rifle qualified officers do you have on your department?
I won't have any. I won't have any.
Atlanta Public Schools Police changed its policy right after we asked why their more than 100 officers have training only in pistols.
If we're able to create opportunities or give our officers the ability to address these issues from a safer position with more accuracy, we're going to do it. And that's what we're working to do.
This is a neighboring district just south of Atlanta.
Bang, 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 bang.
Do you have any officers right now who are patrol rifle qualified?
Not currently.
The school police chief here also decided to add rifles and training for his 47 officers.
Police department!
After we asked what they would do when confronted with a rifle-toting school shooter.
If one of your officers had to engage a shooter who had a rifle with only a pistol, they'd be outgunned right out of the gate, wouldn't they?
They would definitely be outgunned.
Parkland, Uvalde, Newtown, Nashville. The school shooters all brought rifles. Not only are rifles more accurate at longer distances, they carry nearly twice as much ammunition without reloading.
It is time to consider using whatever methods we need to stop the threat.
It's about time. For every minute a school shooter goes unchallenged, more students and staff die. To overcome that hurdle, the very first officer on scene is supposed to immediately engage the shooter alone. By definition, that first officer is the school police officer. But depending on where you live, that first officer might have access to a rifle, or they might only have a pistol. When lives are on the line and seconds count.
I believe that you've got to have everything that you could possibly have and are trained with to defend against that. We're defending children. If we wait, there's a really good chance it's costing us lives.
They're risking their lives, so we need to at least make sure that they're given the best chance at survival for that.
Covenant parent Sarah Shoup Newman is fighting to keep rifles out of the hands of future school shooters.
Police department!
And to put them in the hands of school police.
Some people will watch this and say, wait, the answer to the problem with these guns isn't more guns.
We need more than damage mitigation. We need prevention. These kids saw their friends dead, and they're 9 years old. You don't get those images out of your head.
Our team discovered there is no national standard, so it's up to each individual school district and police department whether to train and equip their officers with rifles.
Oh, he just crashed, he just crashed.
Coming up, more than 8,000 Americans killed in pursuits in the last 2 decades. Now a new federal report calls on police to reconsider their policies on when to chase suspects. That story after the break. Welcome back to Investigate TV. Thousands of people have died in police pursuits in the last 2 decades, some of them innocent bystanders. Andy Perotti examined a new report released by the U.S. Department of Justice that says many of those high-speed chases shouldn't have happened.
83-10-01 in traffic pursuit.
The dangerous consequences of high-speed police pursuits. From this Wisconsin case that left a 16-year-old dead.
Crash, we need medical.
To this pursuit in Ohio that killed 2 innocent bystanders.
Oh, he just crashed.
And this case involving Georgia State Patrol in 2021.
Pitch successful.
Before it ended here, it started on Hunter's Mill Drive in Paulding County, Georgia. Driver Charlie Moore pulled over on the side of the road, concerned why Highway Patrol was following close behind. Trooper David Peterson asked for his driver's license. Moore refused.
One step out of the way. I'm not doing that. What crime did I commit?
One step out of the vehicle.
What crime did I commit? You have to articulate that, and also ask for your supervisor.
Minutes later, 2 county deputies arrived on the scene. Officers break his window. Moore then takes off.
What the bro?
Records show Trooper Peterson's speed tops 95 miles per hour, passing 2 deputy patrol cars on a narrow 2-lane road to reach Moore's vehicle before knocking him off the road using a pit maneuver.
Pitch successful.
Moore and his son survive.
I just want my mom.
But someone in the back seat did not. 12-year-old Leiden Boykins, a 7th grader who loved to play basketball. His mother, Tony, learned about the crash from a neighbor.
I hung up the phone and I just instantly knew. I called my husband like something bad has happened.
Tony blames the trooper for her son's death for engaging in an unnecessary, dangerous pursuit, knowing Moore was not accused of a violent crime before the chase. Trooper Peterson claims he didn't know children were in the vehicle.
There was no need for a chase. There was no need for a chase.
A A new report published by the U.S. Department of Justice agrees. Among the report's recommendations, pursuits should only take place when a violent crime has been committed or when the suspect poses an imminent threat to commit another violent crime. Georgia has no such policies. It largely allows troopers to determine when it's appropriate to engage in high-speed chases.
Police need discretion, but they also need some parameters. Under what circumstances should you pursue?
Chuck Wexler is the executive director of the Police Executive Research Forum, which produced the report on behalf of the agency.
It's not as though we're saying don't ever pursue, but we're saying if you're going to pursue, make sure that it is for the right reasons. The real important question in all of this is it worth it? Is it worth endangering that person who you're pursuing, the police officer who's pursuing them, and that third party?
A call to action as deadly police pursuits are on the rise in the U.S. According to the Department of Transportation, at least a 41% increase, killing 8,200 people over the past 2 decades. The Georgia Department of Public Safety declined to respond to the increase in pursuits, the report's recommendations, and the chase that led to Leedon's death.
1233, there are children in the car.
Despite knowing that some of the officers knew there were children in the vehicle before the crash.
So if you have kids in the car, if I can get up here, I'll pass them and we'll try and box them in, guys. Y'all killed them!
If you could have an opportunity to speak with this trooper, what would you say?
Tell me the reason why my son isn't here today. A 12-year-old kid is dead behind the decisions you made to do a pit maneuver on a car, a violent pit maneuver.
According to Trooper Peterson's personnel file, he did not face any disciplinary action for the pursuit. Attorneys for Leedon Boykin's family filed a federal lawsuit against the Georgia Department of Public Safety in September. That case is still pending. Up next, too dangerous to drive but still on the road. How you can keep your family safe with millions of vehicles under serious recalls. That's after the break. Welcome back to Investigate TV. More than 2.5 million vehicles that have been issued serious safety recalls remain unrepaired and on the roads. That's according to the latest Carfax data. The risks are severe. Some vehicles can catch fire, others can lose control on the road. All of them have the potential to injure or kill people. And those cars can be sold to you without the recall being fixed if you buy used. Kristen Crowley shows us why the government isn't doing anything about what some attorneys call a legal loophole.
The pictures and videos are jaw-dropping.
Oh my God! Oh.
Cars spontaneously catching fire.
Ow!
Airbags shooting shrapnel into people's faces. Those are just some examples of what can happen when a safety recall goes unrepaired.
Anytime you go to turn, it's like a pulling kind of feeling.
Jatonia Garcia experienced the danger firsthand.
I saw this car and I said, that looks like a nice car on the lot.
Jatonia says she wanted a used car to save money. On the outside, this Cadillac SRX looked like the perfect vehicle to her. But on the inside was a problem she had no idea existed.
I felt the car do a little something. I kept telling my boyfriend, like, something, you didn't feel that? Something's weird with the tires. It was like sway across the road.
Then one day, while driving through Texas, that pulling nearly led to catastrophe.
I went to turn the vehicle. It kind of like did the shaking swivel on me stuff, and then we hit compact, and that's all I really remember as far as the accident goes. It could have killed the person and as well as myself.
At first, Jatonia said she was relieved the crash wasn't serious, but that relief was short-lived, and she said it turned to anger when she found out her SUV was part of a recall. And not just any recall, a serious safety recall. So serious, it comes with an urgent warning not to drive it. A loose tow link could cause the vehicle to sway, risking a crash. What's worse, Jatonia says, is she bought the car from the used dealership in January of 2022. That urgent do not drive recall was announced in June of 2021.
I would have never bought it. I wouldn't have even looked twice at it.
If Jatonia had bought the car new, federal law would have prevented the dealership from selling it with an unrepaired safety recall. But there's no federal law banning that sale for used cars.
Across the country, dealers are selling cars with unperformed, federally required safety recalls, used cars. It's being done across the country, all over the place.
Bernard Brown is a consumer protection attorney and a staunch critic of what he says is a lack of laws prohibiting the sale of used cars with federal safety recalls.
It seems odd that there is this requirement for new cars, but not for used cars.
I agree with you. It's not just odd, it's really distressing.
Are there people who are buying these vehicles with open federal safety recalls that are dying because of it?
Yes.
While the federal government keeps track of deaths tied to recalls, like the 19 fatalities with Takata airbags, it does not track whether the car was purchased new or used. But Brown says with millions of problem cars out there, consumers are bound to buy them used and get injured or killed.
Would a federal law on this issue save lives?
Unquestionably.
But that's easier said than done. Some congressional lawmakers have proposed such a law, one as recently as 2021. It stalled in committee. Groups like the National Automobile Dealers Association oppose such legislation. We wanted to interview them about their stance, but they declined. The group instead pointed us to their website, which states a federal law would hurt consumers because it would devalue their trade-ins and cripple the used vehicle market. It argues there would be little impact on safety. Brown says that stance infuriates him.
Are you really saying your dealers should have a car and not fix a safety recall before they sell it? Try that one on me again. Say it slow. Say it slowly so everybody can follow you. Safety recall. Oh no, we don't need to fix that.
We wanted to find out just how common is it for used cars to be for sale with these open safety recalls. So here's an example. This is a website that lists cars for sale across the country. Most list the vehicle's VIN number. I can just take that number and plug it into the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration's website to see if there are any unrepaired recalls. On this page alone of 20 vehicles, 6 of them, that's 30%, had open safety recalls, including this recall, warning of an urgent fire risk. We even found this example of a vehicle with a serious safety recall already sold. Even though there is no federal law, people can sue used car dealerships if they're injured or if someone's killed as a result of the unrepaired recall. But Brown says it's uncommon.
People buying used cars don't have lots of money to do these battles. I would know about them if there were suits about this. There are practically none.
So people can bring suits, they just don't.
That's right.
The wreck was hit right here.
Jatonia still hopes for accountability, and she is suing. The recall on her vehicle and damage from the crash are fixed, but her faith she's driving a car that's safe is broken.
It should be mandatory, and if not, I think they should have some type of consequences, because otherwise the consequences falls on the buyer.
You can check whether your vehicle has any unrepaired recalls. Just head to NHTSA.gov/vehicle. You just need the VIN or vehicle identification number. Coming up, another danger on the roads. Flood-damaged vehicles flow across the country. How you can spot the red flags coming up. Welcome back to Investigate TV. According to a Carfax analysis, there are hundreds of thousands of flood-damaged vehicles on the road right now, and more could soon flood the market. Susan Campbell in Phoenix shows us what to watch out for.
You may be thousands of miles away from a natural disaster, but vehicles damaged in a hurricane or flood could show up on a car lot where you live. And if you get a flood damaged vehicle, you could be in for a lot of costly repairs in the future.
Hurricane Idalia rolled through Florida, leaving behind a path of destruction and cars sitting in salt water.
If an area gets a big flood, they have a lot of cars that were flooded, and they're not going to sell them in that market. They're going to ship it somewhere else, and we could be the recipient of some of those vehicles.
Flood damaged cars should end up with a branded title that says salvage or flood damage.
If you see a flood designation, you probably want to walk away from the car.
But scammers, according to the Arizona Department of Transportation, can fraudulently remove flood history from vehicle titles. It's called title washing.
The insurer does all the right things. They total the car, they pay out the state's brand the car, and then the car might go to a salvage auction, or it might change hands really fast. And, there are bad guys who go out and buy these cars. They clean them up. They're professionals at doing this. They'll try to dry them out, and then they'll try to sell them as just a clean car.
Carfax's Faisal Hassan says there are 452,000 vehicles on the road right now that have been in floods.
That's a 13% increase, and we're only at the end of August from 2022 when we saw 399,000 cars. And we expect to see an increase when you look at the floods in Vermont, in California, in Florida. We expect in the next couple of months for that number to go up.
So we asked Jim Garnand at High Tech Car Care to show us some easy ways to spot some red flags of flood damage.
The biggest thing is smell. I mean, if the vehicle had water, but it doesn't have water damage, it's usually not going to have any aroma to it. If it was parked somewhere and got flooded, it's usually going to stink like a bad gym locker.
If a vehicle passes the smell test, now you need to use your eyes.
So if you look at where the seat brackets are and stuff, there's a well around there and a nut. It's really almost impossible to clean that all the way clean. So you should see some debris in there. And if the nut looks like, hey, there's been a wrench on it or whatever, the paint is disturbed, they may have taken all the stuff out and cleaned out the interior and put it back together. Almost every car you normally look at, those nuts have never been touched. So if every seat looks like they've had the seats out, it's good reason to be suspicious.
Then take it to an independent mechanic who can get it up on a lift.
You can look just like in here, all the different places where there could be water and debris stuck.
What would you notice?
Flood vehicle, these cover plates, we'd take those off and we could find leaves and whatever was floating. For the most part, it's just looking for things that look out of place or abnormal.
This one's simple. Pick up the floor mats in the car. Look at the carpet and the seats for signs of water lines.
And that's it for us. Thanks for joining us here on Investigate TV. Hope to see you next week.